Steve Armitage.
Thank you, Chris. Normally at this time of year in the West, we'd be talking about the field conditions. Not a problem. With the artificial turf, they are absolutely perfect. Temperature and wind, now that's a different story. -10 right now, could go down to -16, -20 in the wind. It was blowing a lot harder this afternoon. The wind has dropped, as Chris Walby predicted it would. Gentlemen, to you. Take it away.
Thank you, Steve. Is this the game where Danny Barrett's Roughriders come of age? And for Dave Ritchie, trying to prove his team is not overaged. Hard to believe the first playoff showdown between these arch rivals since 1975, and you can feel the sense of the rivalry here at Winnipeg's Canadian Stadium.
Well, they always said Dave Ritchie wanted to have another game after the Labor Day game where they came back to Winnipeg. He got his wish. It's a playoff game. It's for all the money right now.
Well, Troy Westwood stoked the fans with some comments about Saskatchewan fans, and they are here in large numbers in Winnipeg tonight. Corey Holmes, Corey Grant have dropped deep. The Edmonton Eskimos await the winner of this Western semifinal matchup. And Troy Westwood ready to get things going. And it will be Holmes from his 24. Trying to get outside. Across the 45. And Corey Holmes still going, finally pushed out. He ignited the comeback last week in BC with a late, big kickoff return, and he gets things going quickly here.
And one of the things Corey Holmes does so well is he goes to one direction to allow his blockers to set up the wall. Sets up the left side, then uses his explosive speed to get outside, takes it down the sideline, and this is exactly what you want for Saskatchewan to start offensively.
Well, we talked to Nealon Green yesterday, 0-3 in the playoffs, but very poised in talking about what had to be done here today. Chris Zarka with the first carry, not much there against that stout run defense of Winnipeg as we check Saskatchewan's offensive lineup.
Well, it's exciting. Zarka had to carry Nealon Green. Kenton Keith hasn't really done much last 2 weeks. Look for him to have a bigger game today. The receivers, Dominguez, Moore, Grant, Richardson. I like this kid at wide receiver, and the offensive line, O'Day and Green, the All-Stars.
Gain of 2 at 2nd and 8, 6 receivers out. Nealon Green dancing, and now pulls it down and is inside the 35, just past the line of scrimmage, and that will force third down. Lamar McGriggs will be spying Nealon Green this evening.
First off, you better give some credit to the secondary of the Bombers because he's got all day. He's sitting back here. He's got a little pressure, but he's just got happy feet. He's trying to find a place to set up, continue to look downfield. But again, the persistence. Fortney coming around, Doug Brown with the ankle, everybody bringing him down. Lamar McGriggs finally to the turf, forcing McCallum to come out and attempt an early field goal.
Solid year for Paul McCallum, who was the last player to leave the turf in the warm-up. He spent a great deal of extra time. Glenn the hold, and the kick by McCallum is good. Roughriders draw first blood after the Corey Holmes kickoff return. So a 42-yarder puts Saskatchewan on the board first.
And it's interesting as you're talking about McCallum, and the fact is he was kicking that very direction when all the teams had cleared the field to go in before the game started. Take a look at Kahari Jones's numbers. 500 pass attempts, over 4,000 yards passing it once again.
Lamar McGriggs said yesterday he's our Willis Reed, an inspiration for the way he came off the bench last week, despite the tender left ankle, and he's going up top early, and Reggie Jones couldn't bring it down over his shoulder. Jones with 155 yards and catches in the first half last week against Edmonton.
In the first half alone, as Charles Roberts, Jones, and Mike Sellers want to be a big part of this game plan today. Great backfield. Receiver Stoddard, Stegel, Jones, the attempted pass there. Howell at wide receiver. And an offensive line that has had great success against Saskatchewan. Elwanibi, the veteran, anchoring that line.
2nd and 10. Jones working against the top pass defense in the CFL. Releases Roberts underneath, and Reggie Hunt was there, and Roberts will be stopped short of a first down.
And Saskatchewan just flares their linebackers out in a zone, knowing that if they take everything away deep, that Kahari Jones loves to dump the pass off to the backs and the flats. Exactly what he does here. And there's number 9, Reggie Hunt, who had, as we talked about, 16 tackles. Shante Peebles working against Matt Sheridan. No love lost there. Little hand early in the face mask.
There's Ladafius McCalla with Corey Holmes. And the play doesn't get underway. Flag flies. And there was some movement along the line.
Procedure, Winnipeg, number 34, repeat 3rd down.
Wade Miller jumped early. The 9-year veteran. And one of the many Winnipeg veterans still looking for their first cup. Bombers have not won it since 1990.
I remember with this many players they have on this roster, Chris, of 30 years and older, this team will be taken apart at the end of this year, win or lose.
Corey Holmes, who had the 48-yard kickoff return, stopped in his tracks. No return on that Westwood punt of 32 yards. 2 and outs for the respective offenses to start this game. And Steve Armitage reporting from the sidelines that in these cold temperatures, the ball is slick. Yesterday, I asked Nealon Green about his memories of the postseason, and he said, I have none, and that's why I'm here, to make some memories. He's been in 4 playoff games, a starter in 3, 0-3. 2 of those were as an Edmonton Eskimo, last year beaten in Toronto. First down at the 50, a pump and go up the sidelines, incomplete, intended for Jamal Richardson.
Well, Jamal Richardson covered step for step by Tim Carter. Excellent job of coverage down the field by 22. Here's the defensive line that'll get the job done. Fortney, Brown, Wilson going both ways today. David Benefield at rush end. Linebacker crew. Clark again, a little bit upset about being left off that all-star team. Wickman and Griggs. Nash, Carter, who made the last play. Morgan Lewis and Bell.
So we talked about the run game, and we've seen nothing but passes so far. This is a passing situation and an incompletion. Intended for Travis Moore, and Milo Lewis back in the lineup. He missed last week's game with a back problem.
Well, Saskatchewan a little excited about the fact that they're going against 3 young guys in that secondary, Carter, Morgan, and Lewis. Lewis back after missing last week's game. Very energetic, very excitable player, looking forward to being in his first playoffs as a starter.
Live.
There's Paul McCallum getting ready to kick the frozen pigskin. And Charles Roberts is back, but a short kick will careen out of bounds. No chance for a Charles Roberts return. And the ball will be spotted at the 33. So a 28-yard punt. Kahari Jones back off the ankle problems for this start tonight.
It might be a little painful today, but I know I can take that pain, and I know I'm ready for it. And as long as I can do most of the things that I'm used to doing, then I should be fine. I'm going to rely on my protection a lot. I'm going to rely on the receivers to get open and try to get the ball off quickly and just trust in the people around me.
Here's Charles Roberts, his first carry of the game, and strung out well defensively. Ladafius McCalla moved up. Here the gangrene is fired up.
Well, I see Marcus Adams, the defensive end, fired up, shouting encouragement to his teammates. Danny Barrett said for them to win this football game, the defensive line has to play in the offensive backfield of the Bombers. They do a nice job of stringing this play out. Finally, Adams taking the elusive Roberts out of bounds.
Well, Charles Roberts lit up Saskatchewan in the 2 regular season games. 3 yards there, 2nd and 7. Jackie Mitchell blitz. Marcus Howell drops the football, delivered behind the receiver, and Bobby Perry, the extra back in coverage, was stride for stride with Howell.
Well, a good decision, good protection from the big boys up front, allowing Kahari Jones to have a good throwing lane. He just throws the ball behind Howell, who tries to reach behind him and come up with a catch, as we see Mo Elwanibi down, getting a little bit of a stretch.
So we still await the game's initial first down. Elwanibi makes his way to the sidelines, and Westwood goes back to work.
Let him go!
Westwood slipped as he delivers the ball, and it went off a Rough Rider, but no yards would be the call, as Kennedy Nikiasen had that ball kick off his ankle, and a 24-yard punt on the slippery turf. There appears to be a layer of frost that is making things a little treacherous.
Well, the biggest thing is he freezes it there. Take a look at his foot. He's wearing a little bit of a short screw-in right there, and he may have to change that as he slipped.
Saskatchewan goes to work, first down. Kenton Keith, the fine rookie running back of the Roughriders, in his first start against Winnipeg this year, and he was tripped up in the backfield.
Well, you're going against the #1 team against the run, only allowing 70 yards a game against. Kenton Keith said, you know what, I haven't done much the last 2 weeks. He's combined 25 yards. He says, I think I can do something against Winnipeg. Well, if you're going to pick a good team to run against, let's see what you got.
Averaged 7 yards a carry during the regular season, lost 2 on his first postseason rush. Green over the middle, incomplete. Travis Moore, the intended receiver, and neither defense has budged yet.
Well, Jim Carter working and coming back inside with the receiver. They're running a lot of crossing routes. Just comes across the middle, right in the hip pocket, not allowing Travis Moore to come up with his first catch of the afternoon.
So Saskatchewan squandering good field position in this opening quarter, and Paul McCallum will punt it away again and try and keep it away from the dangerous Charles Roberts. Roberts has it at the 25. Backtracking and down, back at the 15. Omar Morgan dropping the explosive Roberts for a loss on that return.
A great coverage of staying in your lanes by Saskatchewan on the coverage team, not allowing Charles Roberts to use his quickness to get to the outside. They actually cause him to redirect, change his direction, and he ends up losing a ton of yardage.
Well, just a reminder, you can log on to our website and submit a question to a CFL player, and we'll get him to answer it for you on CFL.ca. And here's Charles Roberts with his first big rush of the game.
Charles Roberts got the rush, but Mike Sellers all over Jackie Mitchell and actually stayed on the block well after the play, allowing Roberts to change his direction, get to the outside. Now, once he gets to the outside, he explodes through and picks up a first down.
The safety, Darnell Edwards, had to bring it down, and Mike Sellers can clear quite a path for his sidekick, Charles Roberts. First down, and now Sellers pulls his way for a couple, and he was upended by Reggie Hunt. But what a 1-2 punch they provide Kahari Jones.
Well, the nice thing they do is when they give Roberts the ball and he uses his feet to get to the outside, the linebackers will quickly jump to the outside. That allows you to come back and give it to the big man up the middle. But I tell you what, Reggie Hunt right there to nail Sellers for a short gain.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Here comes the blitz, and Jones in trouble, downed back at the 25-yard line. And the celebration begins as Scott Schultz, the Moose Jaw native, gets to Jones for the first time today.
Well, it's really imperative this offensive line of Mike Sellers stay back there and allow Kahari Jones to get in a bit of a rhythm. Last week he came in, the O-line knew that he was injured. They picked it up even more. He wasn't touched, he got into a flow, and that hurt Edmonton. This time, Scott Schultz, who said it's going to be a slobber knocker out here, Chris. Little Moose Jaw slang, but on that play, right in there.
And Wade Miller, a little false start. You know, he's jacked up. That's twice already. His dad a bomber in the 60s.
Procedure, Winnipeg, number 34, repeat, 3rd down.
Well, one of the things that's happening right now is you see Wade Miller coming right through the center of your screen. Winnipeg right now is losing the battle of field position, allowing Saskatchewan to keep getting opportunities, not only with their punt return game, but when their offense takes over the football.
Westwood trying to improve on his punting today, and that one is a better punt that Corey Holmes has back at the Saskatchewan 50. A no yards call, and Bobby Perry and Westwood are jostling. And Troy's one of those kickers that's not going to back up.
No, Troy is definitely high-strung. He's going to get into a little bit of head jacking. You see Bobby Perry with that. You know, Troy doesn't have exactly the most offensive or protective type of face mask with that single bar. And as you can tell right there, the kickers living up to their reputation as not being the toughest men in football.
But one of the most quotable going into this week's action.
Well, remember, Troy did have a short stint as a professional boxer.
Head coach Dave Ritchie was critiquing that yesterday. He didn't like the amount of dancing done in the ring by Troy. Well, let's see if Saskatchewan can get dancing. Looking for their first down. Wide open. And there's Matt Dominguez down the sidelines. And it's a touchdown, Saskatchewan. 55 yards for the outstanding first-year receiver. And Nealon Green is flexing early.
Play action pass. Dominguez just comes wide open down the sidelines. A breakdown in coverage. Wide open. He delivers the ball quickly. Dominguez does the rest himself, avoiding the tackle and taking it all the way into the end zone. You can see right there to the left, breakdown in the coverage. Joe Morgan comes over, tries to knock him out of bounds, to no avail. Dominguez uses his size and strength to take it the rest of the way.
He took it just like him.
McCallum adds the extra point, the first completion, the first down, and it's a 55-yard touchdown for Matt Dominguez. And Nealon Green's got the Riders in front by 10.
Just a little play action of Freeze, just runs inside Ricky Bell, and that's their best cover guy. He doesn't get a shot on him. If you're going to be up that tight and you're going to try and do a little bit of a physical jam on the receiver, you have got to slow his momentum down, and he did on that play. That allowed Dominguez to come free behind him. Nealon found him, and as you say, 55 yards later, it's a touchdown and an early 10-0 lead, which is shocking the hometown crowd right now.
7th in the CFL in receiving this year, Matt Dominguez, and he had the big catch from Kevin Glenn in the final minute last week at BC Place Stadium that sent the Lions east and the Roughriders to Winnipeg.
Well, remember, you see he's got 1,000 yards receiving, but he also 14 catches in his last 2 ball games of the season. Really has become the go-to guy on this offense. You talk a lot about Travis Moore, but boy, Dominguez making a name for himself.
Reggie Jones and Marcus Howell were deep. And this is Jones. As we take another look at the 55-yard Neon green strike to Dominguez.
Well, what you miss off the beginning is just a play-action pass and a missed jam by Ricky Bell, and that allows Dominguez to come wide open, and the safety who comes over late, Joe Morgan, unable to knock Dominguez out of bounds, and as a result, Saskatchewan with an early 10-0 lead.
Neon working on those playoff memories as Charles Roberts tries to get something back, just tripped up. He looked like he was exploding into the Roughriders secondary, but Darnell Edwards, the safety, with a saving tackle.
And it shows you how much they respect the run of the Bombers and the fact that they're bringing their free safety, number 11, Darnell Edwards, tight to the line of scrimmage. Now he almost gets to the outside, and it's just a little bit of a shoestring. Darnell grabs him and knocks Roberts down. Had he got to the outside, he was going for a long way.
Roberts, the first Bomber to win the rushing title in 10 years. The last, Michael Richardson. And up the gut, across the 45 to the 48-yard line. He'll be close to a first down.
Both games, Chris, they won against Saskatchewan. They ran the ball 30-plus times each game. I like the fact, even though Winnipeg is down by 10, they're not panicking and figuring it this early in the game. They got to start airing the ball downfield. Stay with the game plan. It's a 4-quarter game plan. Stay with it. It'll open up the passing game as we go.
It was a first down. Roberts again, right side to the 54.
The other thing the running game does is it starts to wear out the defense. It gets your offensive lineman rather sitting in a pass pro position in an attack mode where they're going after the defensive lineman. They're punishing rather than receiving. That also helps your psyche of your offense.
Charles Roberts, the offensive player of the final month of the regular season. 2nd and 4. Back to Roberts, upended, short of the first down. Big Nate Davis, all 300 pounds, upending the diminutive running back of the Bombers.
Well, Nate Davis just working against Eric Wilson, just comes underneath and takes the legs off the engine right there. Nate Davis, who was a wrecking ball last week, 2 sacks, 3 tackles against BC, just gets it done. A real force in the middle. If you want to be successful running the ball, you better have somebody on that man.
So again, it's Westwood kicking to McCalla. And that ball will bounce out at around the 28-yard line. And it's a 28-yard punt. And the home side's in a hole early in Winnipeg. Welcome back to Canada Stadium in Winnipeg, the Western semifinal. And the Roughriders with the early lead, the 55-yard touchdown for Dominguez. A 42-yard McCallum field goal opened the scoring. And this their deepest start back at their own 29. Corey Holmes with a carry.
That's one of the things they want to do is get him involved. The reason you run the ball up the middle is because the fact is if you're going to throw the ball, the play action pass will be taken right off of that. You see Andrew Green, the Western Division nominee for most outstanding offensive lineman, getting the job done in the middle.
2nd and 7. Dominguez to the wide side. Green looking that way. And now Travis Moore, the intended receiver, incomplete, and Moore pays a price.
That's how you're supposed to play the safety position. Now Corey Oakes is going to follow the receiver, Travis Moore, into the middle of the football field. Joe Morgan, the safety. He's got to see it, read the quarterback size. Now come over. Now right there, if the ball's delivered there, it's a catch. Now he pulls up a little bit. 18, the safety comes over, lays a lick on him. Some people go, hey, that's late. No, it's not. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to make Travis Moore worry about coming into the middle of the football field.
Let him go!
All McCallum, good punt. Charles Roberts at his 35, and Terrence Melton there to lead the Riders downfield in coverage. 43-yard punt, 5-yard return. Last year we were here in Winnipeg, the Western semifinal. the BC Lions and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And a loud group of linebackers wanted to do some talking. And instead it was Winnipeg's defense, and then late Kahari Jones over the middle, Jamie Stoddard and Dave Ritchie. And the Bombers prevailed 30-3. There was a holding penalty against Winnipeg on the punt return. The Blue Bombers 4 possessions, 4 punts, and they have yet to tread into Saskatchewan territory. First down at the Winnipeg 26. Sellers, nothing doing. And Phil Gibson in on the tackle, acquired during the season from the Montreal Alouettes.
Well, Phil Gibson does a nice job of penetration. That's how you defeat this play. You don't let Mike Sellers start to get untracked with the football. And right away, 93 is in the backfield before Mike Sellers can find a place to cut up and find some daylight.
Gibson out now, and Bobby Perry checks in. 2nd and 9. 5 receivers out, and Jones over the middle, and Stiegel couldn't reach it. And a pair of flags are thrown by the officials.
Well, penalties are going to hurt the Bombers. First off, Saskatchewan's only rushing 3 guys. You have 5 offensive linemen blocking 3 defensive linemen, and then to
Winnipeg,
make matters
number
worse,
57,
you take
decline.
a holding penalty.
Third down.
Jermise Jones, the left tackle, you can't do this. And I know Dave Ritchie there says, you know what, if we're having 3 on 5, we should basically be outnumbering these guys. He's right on the corner right there, just going to keep working, gets the arm around, and you can see he does the spin move on Marcus Adams.
Troy Westwood has been out-punted so far in this first quarter. Flag flies. Line drive punt, and it'll bounce to Corey Holmes at midfield. And another flag down. And that punt just 29 yards.
Offside, Saskatchewan. No yards, Winnipeg will re-kick.
And this an even poorer kick off the side of his foot. And Troy Westwood, who did some talking before the game, is hurting. An 8-yard punt by Troy Westwood. First down, Kenton Keith, and away he goes. Keith inside the 15. Touchdown. There is a flag. It looked like a substitution call against Winnipeg, but we'll wait and find out. It is against the Bombers, and Kenton Keith has taken it in for another Saskatchewan touchdown.
Penalties decline.
The thing is, Chris, you talk about turnovers. That 8-yard punt, as far as I'm concerned, is a turnover. It allows Saskatchewan to start this drive in wonderful field position deep in Winnipeg territory. It's one play later. Kenton Keith, the man who's never played the Bombers this year, gets it, breaks to the initial line of scrimmage to the outside. The speed takes over, and 35 yards later, another touchdown for Saskatchewan, who are quickly starting to pile up some points on these Bombers.
What I told you, Danny Barrett told Kenton Keith this week, you're the X factor. They've never seen you. Keith on that run of 35 yards ran more than in his last 2 games.
Just a kick out block. Left guard Donald Heaven's going to just kick out. Kenton Keith cuts it up in the opening. He uses the speed to get to the outside. Nice block. Opens the hole. Speed takes over. Heads are starting to hang on the Bombers. Down 17-0. Something's got to turn. Something's got to start charging these guys up, or it's going to be a runaway by the men in green.
Well, Troy Westwood's put his team in a large hole, and Saskatchewan has struck with a big play. 55 yards Dominguez, 35 yards Keith, 17-0 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now despite the emotion of last week's win over Edmonton, there was talk around the Bombers that this was still a fragile team. Here's Marcus Howell trying to deliver some inspiration for his side, and that's a start. Big return of 36 yards for the Winnipeg native as we look at how Saskatchewan's fat in the lead. The 8-yard punt, and that sets up Kenton Keith.
Well, Kenton Keith just explodes to that. We know Saskatchewan's got a good offensive line. Little upset that only O'Day and Green were all-stars. They felt that guys like Makowski had another solid year as well.
Bombers at their 51 need something in a hurry. And Jones looks downfield and overthrows Reggie Jones.
Again, the right play selection by the quarterback, Khari Jones, has Reggie Jones, as you say, who had the big game, the big first half last week against Edmonton, and again, just overthrows. Little play action, frees the linebacker, sets up, delivers the football, pays the price, but overthrows the intended receiver.
Scott Schultz and Nate Davis. Those inside linemen of the Roughriders have had a big first quarter. A sack, a hurry there, and 2nd and 10. Blue Bombers. Jones over the middle, nearly picked off as he threw that into triple coverage on the final play of the opening quarter. And there's concern in Winnipeg as Saskatchewan has a big early advantage. The Saskatchewan Roughriders were the hottest team coming into the postseason, winning 4 straight games, and they have remained red hot on this frigid night in Winnipeg.
Boy, I tell you what, look at this. You want to talk about stats that lie, 9 minutes to 5 for Saskatchewan. Winnipeg has punted the ball 6 times into the win. Of course, we had the last one, which was disastrous, a turnover as far as I'm concerned, when Troy Westwood got an 8-yard punt. So that really should say 1 because Saskatchewan capitalized on that. Next play with Kenton Keith going 35 yards for a touchdown.
Well, it is a veteran Bomber crew, and they felt the urgency to perform well here tonight to keep this group together. Westwood with a huge punt this time, and this will roll down near the goal line. They want it to roll into the end zone, and Saskatchewan is going to concede a single point. And that time, Westwood was just a yard too long from a perfect punt.
Well, I'll tell you what, anything's better than an 8-yard punt as you see him right now, hoping that it'll stay out of the end zone, willing it if he possibly thinks it's there right now. Now he's going to go up there and go, you got to be kidding.
That's when even a 51-yard punt is just not quite satisfactory.
Well, you see Khari Jones, and I thought he tried to force a situation the last play. Basically throws the ball up. Now I want you to freeze it right there and take a look here. You got 1, you got 2, you got 3 defenders, and he's trying to get the ball to Milt Stegall. Use all your weapons. I know a lot of times being criticized, he's always looking for number 85. He's got 4 touchdowns the last 2 games, but he's got other receivers out there.
So they switch ends. It doesn't look like the wind should be a big advantage or disadvantage as Corey Holmes is stopped at the line of scrimmage. John Osterhaus in on the tackle.
Osterhaus does a nice job of getting in there, making the play on Corey Holmes early before he can get going. But I'll tell you one of the things, Chris, the wind doesn't look like a factor, but once it gets over the stands, it really does catch, and it really slows up the ball. Now we'll see what McCallum does kicking into the one when he has the punt.
2nd and 10. Fans urging the defense here as Green starts to dance and now delivers a strike, and Jamal Richardson has a first down. Elon Green has a couple of big wide-out targets in Dominguez and Richardson Richardson moves the chains.
Well, a couple of 6'3" targets, 6 foot 3 inches, but what I really like is the fact that the receivers never give up on the play. They keep working to try and find an opening to allow themselves to help their quarterback, and Jamal Richardson does that by dragging across the middle, allowing Elon to get him to the football, pick up a first down.
Ball at the 48. Green with time, looking for Mueller. And it is picked off. Carter with the interception, and he's down to the 29.
Something to go. Winnipeg's win and hopefully jumpstart this team. This ball is simply, as you freeze right here, he's got distance on him right now. He's got separation. This is just totally underthrown. That allows Tim Carter to come up and make a clutch interception to kill the drive and give his offense another chance.
Now, do the Bombers have to throw the ball, or would you like to see them try and get some running? Here's Roberts across the 32-yard line.
I thought what Winnipeg did last week against Edmonton was the perfect mix. They used the run to set up the pass. They went deep a lot off, but I think when you try and force a situation and you look at the score and you see 17-1, you say, you know what, we're forced to go downfield now all the time. If you're gonna go downfield, that's one thing, but do not center on one figure. Spread the offense around, use a lot of motion, and spread the ball around.
They trailed 14-0 early last week. 2nd and 7, Jones, first down, as he has a completion to Marcus Howell.
It's exactly what you got to do to move the chains. Get another first down, keep the ball. Milton Steagle's going to clear out. As soon as he goes deeper, Saskatchewan starts to check on him. That allows Howell to come underneath and make the catch. You see a little bit of a stunt right there by Shante Peoples. Mike Sellers takes the legs out from under him, but trying to run some trickery up front, that defensive line.
At the 44, Roberts. Charles Roberts, close to 5.
Outstanding job by Charles Roberts to avoid the tackle, the attempted tackle. Terrence Milton, the middle linebacker, number 37, figures he's got him dead to right in the backfield. Roberts does the high hurdle and picks up positive yardage. Sees him, hops over him, picks up something positive. See if the rest of the team picks up off that.
Over 3,100 all-purpose yards for Roberts, 800 better than the next best in the CFL. Blitz, Sellers, the catch, and Mike Sellers has another first down, but Kahari Jones certainly took the hit to make the play.
Reggie Hunt on this blitz, and he has done it to many a quarterback in this league. Perfectly timed, gets there. Kahari sees it, sets back, knows he's going to take the hit from Hunt, but delivers the ball to Sellers. Great effort by Sellers to stretch and pick up the first down.
First time the Bombers have been on the Saskatchewan side of half. Flag down, Bombers were across the line of scrimmage. Downfield, the catch is made. Reggie Jones, but it's coming back.
Earlier this season.
Offside. Winnipeg, number 85. Repeat first down.
It's a great call, Chris Milsteagle jumping off. He also is the one that says, you know what? As a team, it's 12 players to make the play. It only takes one to break the play. Milsteagle jumping offside, nullified a big gain by this Bomber offense. Seeing people working against Sheridan, trying to come in there. Going down, getting caught in a pile.
So it's 1st and 15. And they're closing in. Jones released and unable to hook up with Sellers. And that Roughrider front is certainly turned the heat up.
Well, if you thought that Peoples was shaking up the play previous, I can tell you right now he is coming on this play, and he is working against Jermise Jones and just gets a step on him. Him and Marcus Adam, both ends, doing a terrific job of applying pressure from the outside, speed rushing the quarterback, forcing Kahar to get rid of that football before he wants to.
2nd and 15. Low snap. Jones has got it. Downfield, overthrows it. Darnell Edwards, what a hit. He knocked the helmet right off G.B. Stoddard. Well, they've talked about how this safety for Saskatchewan is emerging, and Jamie Stoddard won't argue the point.
No, he won't, but you got to remember, this is your backyard. This is Winnipeg's backyard, and as a receiver, you want to be the one delivering the blow. Kahari Jones, good presence to pick up the football to try and find someone downfield, avoids the pressure, overthrows the intended receiver again, and as you say, Darnell Edwards, the graduate from down the road, University of Manitoba, laying the lick on the intended receiver, Stoddard.
7th punt of the first half for Westwood. And Holmes on the return. So a 16-point Saskatchewan lead. We're in the second quarter of the Western semifinal. Well, there is green throughout this stadium, and I know the Winnipeg officials jokingly referred to it as the tractor factor. They were worried about an influx of Saskatchewan fans that might neutralize home field advantage. It's a boisterous atmosphere here. Even though the home team is on the wrong end of the scoreboard right now. Neither quarterback with numbers they'd like to write home about. But Nealon Green's not going to argue right now. Kenton Keith, and Keith's nearly away again. At the 40-yard line, he has another first down, and looks like the hip problems that he suffered with the last few weeks of the year are history.
As you say, a guy that averages 7 yards every time he touches the football. But you gotta like what Saskatchewan's doing. 4 receivers to the wide side of the field, 1 to the back, spread out the defense, come up the middle with Kenton Keith.
Joe Morgan, a saving tackle there, or Keith might have been headed for the end zone again. A little mix-up, and Green plows ahead for a couple. And again, Joe Morgan with the stick.
I believe they were going to try and run the option in this play, and we haven't really seen it yet from Nealon Green, but he loves to take it to the side. He'll pull Kenton around to the outside and just do a little play action. Zarka gets caught up and loses sight of Kenton Keith and has to pull the ball down himself and make something out of it. But watch for that play later. They really like to run the option.
Rylan Wickman comes out and Mo Kelly comes in second and long situations. Green over the middle, and the ball is separated from the receiver, and that's Joe Morgan again. And Dave Ritchie can't say enough about Joe Morgan, his rookie safety.
Well, we talked about Joe Morgan last week. This kid will be a star in this league. He is tough, he is strong, and he loves to hit. And boy, does he put his helmet between the 8 and the 3 of Travis Moore. And I believe that Travis will make sure where he is when he gets to the sideline.
Fans here in Winnipeg think that's a fumble. Did Moore come down and take one step with the ball? That's the new ruling after the controversial play in the Eastern Final last year. McCallum on a bad punt into that win. Roberts, and he's jolted at the 40 by Chris Zarka after a promising return. Bombers with the ball, their own 40, 7.5 minutes left in the opening half. And Winnipeg playing catch-up. Here's the screen, Sellers flagged down, and great contain as Ladafius McCallum, the corner, moved up, and Sellers said he wasn't stopped. And it looked like Marcus Howell will be flagged on the play.
Well, once again, it's a scenario of knowing the snap count, getting off, making sure you're all working together.
Winnipeg, number 82, repeat first down.
Marcus Howell going down the field, tries to block. He blocks, and you know what? Those are one of those penalties, Chris, where Marcus Howell expects Sellers to go to the inside. Sellers takes it to the outside. As a result, Howell tries to just grab him because he thinks he's going to take it up inside of him. That's just a scenario of anticipating wrongly which way your back is going to go with the football.
So first down over at 20. And Kahari on a roll. And an incompletion. was nailed on the sidelines by Omar Morgan.
Well, Jamie Stoddard, who Kahari doesn't go to often, but usually is a very reliable receiver, just going to roll out to the left, throw on the run, try and get him on the sidelines. Now Stoddard has his hands on the ball. He's got to come up with that catch. McCullough makes the play, but Stoddard has his hands on the football. He's got to come up with that.
And so far tonight, the outstanding player in 2001, Kahari Jones, has not been able to find the outstanding player in 2002, Milt Stiegel. And there's another incompletion as Jamie Stoddard drops the ball.
Well, that's 2 in a row now. I tell you what, you got to go to the sidelines, forget about that, get regrouped. Your quarterback's putting the ball where it has to be. You've got to come up with these catches to keep these drives. You can't keep putting Troy Westwood back on the football field in these punting situations.
Well, we counted 10 drop passes last week in a Winnipeg win, but they cannot make a habit of that here tonight. Westwood the punt, and Holmes might get a return here. Cuts back. Brian Clark felt he was clipped, but there is no flag. 35-yard punt. 5 on the return. Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers were 7-2 at home during the regular season. They've lost only 4 of their last 29 home games. But they're in a 16-point hole on a cold night here in Winnipeg. And Saskatchewan has the football at their 50. Goes to Keith, and not much doing there. David Benefield, the all-star defensive end of the Bombers, with the tackle, and he gets up in an angry move.
Well, that's what he's got to do. He's got to get in there. This is a time to get angry. It's not a time to stay, huddle up. You got to show some emotion out there. It's controlled aggression. Get out there, get the rest of your teammates jacked up right now. You still got a lot of time for things to happen. Create another turnover, give your offense another turn, or score with your defense.
And Benefield set a club record this year, 5 forced fumbles. A couple of fumble recoveries, some touchdown. 2nd and 9, here comes Joe Morgan, but Green decked away, and off he goes. Nealon Green out at the 37-yard line, and there's the flex. As Green moves the chains.
And remember, it's not often that your quarterback is the leading rusher on your football team. That is the case in Saskatchewan. Nealon Green, great presence on the football field, feels the pressure by Joe Morgan, the safety coming on a blitz, breaks that, gets to the outside, good athletic ability, takes a good run, makes a potentially big defensive play, breaks it down, and turns it into a great offensive play.
The safety had a shot, but Green got away. And it's a 21-yard gain and a first down. Kent and Keith. And again, Morgan in on the tackle as Keith down to the 34.
Well, Saskatchewan taking a page out of Winnipeg's playbook and the fact that they really do believe, and they're the #1 team rushing the football, but they really believe when they're successful running the football that Nealon Green will have success throwing it.
Saskatchewan averaged 144 yards per game on the ground this year. And Keith halfway to 100. 2nd and 5. Green over the middle, and that was dropped. It looked like the Bombers had their 2nd pick of this first half, and Harold Nash was unable to squeeze.
Well, Harold Nash talking to Milo Lewis, unbelievable. He figures he's got one. Again, the tip drill. They work on this all week in practice where the defender will put the ball back up in the air, and the following defensive back will try and grab it. Harold Nash 0-0 sees it, tries to grab it, loses it on the way down to the ground. Frustration
Harold, a 10-year veteran, still looking for his first Grey Cup ring. And now McCallum in to attempt his second 42-yard field goal of this first half. And like the first, he's good again. Paul McCallum expands Saskatchewan's lead. The Blue Bombers won both regular season matchups, but the Roughriders have a 20-1 lead as Kahari Jones and Winnipeg scrimmages for their own 35. Charles Roberts following Mike Sellers, and Roberts out of bounds after 6 or 7. And behind the play, Mike Sellers and Jackie Mitchell are jawing.
Well, we talked about the fact that Jackie Mitchell is the guy that a lot of the times will be responsible for number 1, Charles Roberts. Sellers, his job is to block. Number 24 does a good job on that play. After the play, still pushing, still jawing. Jackie Mitchell, this is what it's all about. When you know it's for all the marbles. Remember, the loser goes home. The winner advances to play Edmonton next week.
They're still going long range. 2nd and 3. Roberts first down and taken out at the 49. And there's the guy that's been trying to go step for step with Charles Roberts, Jackie Mitchell, on the tackle. Less than 3 minutes to go. First half at Canadian Stadium in Winnipeg. 2:47 remaining in the first half. And the Blue Bombers with the football and a first down at their 49, needing to make something happen.
Well, I just tell you what, you're going to run the ball. This is a nice job of sealing. Now watch your fullback come out and work on the linebacker right there. This is working together. Matt Sheridan does a nice job of doing this, and Sellers kicking out Reggie Hunt, allowing Roberts to get up, find positive yardage, and pick it up when he already has 53 yards on the afternoon.
They got to get the ball to Milt Stegall sooner or later, don't they? Here's Marcus Howell, hit screen, first down, and into Saskatchewan territory, ball loose, and Howell gets back on it and gets a few extra yards.
Not only that, Chris has got his helmet, his lid was knocked off. He realized he had dropped the ball and actually hopped over the defender to recover that fumble.
He lost it, there it is. Lost the football, lost his helmet, but got on the football in a hurry.
Big play with the little hitch screen, get to the outside. Sheridan had a great block on the run by Roberts. Another good block to the outside to allow Howell to pick up some yardage. Good presence of mind to hop over the pile and recover his own fumble.
I think our camera guy tried to take the helmet. First down after a 23-yard gain. And now he drops it off to Sellers. Jackie Mitchell draped on the big man. And he'll take it a couple more yards, and that'll stoke these fans.
They start to pick up the energy from the crowd. The crowd gets excited every time number 33 touches the football. Reaches back, little stiff arm to Mitchell. Looks like he's going to go down. Darnell Edwards in there to help wrap him up, but not before another first down.
11 for Sellers. Those two running backs combined for 99 catches during the regular season. And now Jones looks downfield. Wide open is Stoddard. J.B. Stoddard! Touchdown! And the Bombers get a much-needed major late in this first half. The University of Alberta product atoning for a drop or two earlier. Westwood the extra point. Come on, let's go! And the Bombers trying to claw their way back into this Western semifinal.
And how big is that for Stoddard, who dropped 2 passes in a row earlier in the quarter? But in this play, again, little play action pass to Charles Roberts. Now he's going to go down the field. Take a look at Stoddard, wide open. I'm going to tell you what, if we get another look at that, you're going to see Milt Stegall in the back of the end zone, and both defenders are looking at number 85, which allows number 88 to be this wide open by the goal line.
Stoddard just one touchdown during the regular year, a big one here. And you saw earlier, he had one in last year's Western Semi.
Well, Adolphus McCullough cheating to the inside, seeing 85 coming into the end zone. He cheated and he got caught on that play.
A lot of time left in this first half, a minute 48. Swift kick. And here's Corey Grant back across the 45. Danny Barrett's team a year ago in Toronto had a 12-0 lead and ended up losing that game. They lost momentum on a big punt return by Bashir Livingston for a touchdown. And a fumble when they looked like they were going to go in and score again.
But I tell you one thing that happens, even though it's against Saskatchewan, it wakes them up a little bit too. Being up 20-1, sometimes you get a little overconfident.
Well, they sent 6 receivers out, and they have a catch for Corey Holmes. And Holmes at the 52-yard line has 7 for Saskatchewan.
Well, that's a nice job of Saskatchewan, taking exactly what the Bomber defense gives them. They're going to drop the linebackers back in the zone, and Corey Holmes just slides out there, picks up 7 yards on first down, making it a second and short situation.
Keith, the lone setback. He takes the swing pass, and he'll be stopped behind the line of scrimmage. So the Bombers are fired up. And they're going to get the ball back with about a minute to play in the first half.
Well, you just asked who was going to respond. Would it be Saskatchewan by marching the ball and trying to get some points or running the clock out, or Winnipeg with a big defensive stand? They only needed 3 yards. They got exactly what they wanted on first down with 7 yards. They tried the little swing pass, give it to the speedster, but Clark and the rest of his teammates equal to the challenge, forcing the punting situation.
Reggie Jones is back, awaiting the McCallum kick. And we're waiting for the officials to rule time in. Sure, Winnipeg didn't take their time out there because the clock was stopped. Did not get an indication, but here's Reggie Jones tripped up. And that's a good defensive play by Dennis Mavrin. 69 seconds remaining. Ball at the Winnipeg 28. A 12-point Saskatchewan lead that the Bombers would like to cut into before they head to the locker room. And they look for Stiegel, and Milt didn't look very energetic on that play. He was bothered by a hamstring in the practice this week, and you wonder if that's bothering him right now.
Well, he's coming off the field right now, and he makes a cut, and he just kind of slows up. You can see right there in front of Eddie Davis. He kind of gave up on the ball. The pain took control of Milt Stiegel on that route. He's going to pull himself out of this second down play.
Last year's sidelined by broken ribs in the postseason. 2nd and 10. Jones on a roll, and Stoddard can't hang on, but pass interference will be called as Ladolphus McCullough came over top.
Boy, Ladolphus McCullough tried to time this. He thought he had the perfect timing coming over the top of the intended receiver, Jamie Stoddard. I believe the referees thought he got there just a little too
Pass
quick.
interference, Saskatchewan #1. First down.
So last year's Wolby Warrior flagged on the play, and Stoddard's been a favorite receiver here so far for Kahari Jones.
Little slide protection, just coming over the top, not allowing Jamie Stoddard to come up with that catch.
Here comes the rush. Jones is down. Nate Davis back at the 28. And Vic Nate, who had 10 sacks during the year in a pair against the Bombers, has the second Saskatchewan sack of the game.
Second sack, but you can see Kahari Jones. I mean, this is a jailbreak. You can't allow this many green and white jerseys to come this free, this easily, if you want to win this football game.
So the makeshift offensive line showing some holes, and now 2nd and 20. Jones this time with time to throw, and it's incomplete. Underthrowing Stoddard, who tried to take his route to the first down stick, and the ball didn't get there.
Just underthrown, as you say, Chris. He had the guy who wanted to go, and it's becoming fairly evident that number 88 might be the receiver of choice this afternoon for Kahari Jones, as once again he throws in his direction. Stoddard sees it, tries to come back, ball a little short, bounces harmlessly in front of the intended receiver.
And now with 35 seconds left, Saskatchewan's going to get decent field position for one more chance for a score, except Westwood with a brilliant punt. And this one will go out at the 19. Well, it was a nightmarish first quarter, but that's a 62-yard Westwood punt.
And I'll tell you what, Danny Barrett's going to get a hold of Corey Holmes and say, you do not let the ball bounce. When it's in the air, you've got to catch the football. By the fact of letting it bounce, you cost us an additional 15 yards. He just lets this ball bounce and kind of nonchalantly watches it go out of bounds. And boy, it's a great turn of events for Troy Westwood in his punting average.
So the worst starting position of the half for Saskatchewan, with less than a half minute to go. And in this area, the Roughriders just don't want to make any mistakes. Sarka with a plunge for a couple.
Well, I'm a little interested in Nealon Green. He hasn't really, he started off going to Travis Moore. He's kind of forgotten about Travis after that big hit by Morgan. Kind of forgot about Dominguez, but there's other guys that I think that it could have a big impact on this game, and we talked about him earlier. Jamal Richardson, another big target, haven't really thrown him the football.
It's been strange. They've been a ball control offense all year, but here they've written a couple of big plays for this lead as they plunge ahead again on the final play of the opening half. Again, a 55-yarder to Matt Dominguez, the 35-yard rump by Kenton Keith. And Saskatchewan's Danny Barrett has seen big plays stake them to this halftime lead in Winnipeg. Armitage.
Thank you, Chris. Danny, you mentioned to us yesterday that Keith might be the X factor in this first half.
He's looked good thus far, and we got to find ways to continue to utilize his skills, whether it's running the football or coming out of the backfield, and we'll make those adjustments at halftime.
This time last year, you had a 12-point lead on the Argos. You let it slip. What do you have to do differently this year?
Well, the difference was they had momentum at home. We have the momentum now. What we have to do is come out the third quarter and just keep establish the dominance that we have at the line of scrimmage. And those are things that we talked about yesterday, playing into their backfield, our defensive line, and that's what we're doing.
Danny, thanks for this. Good luck in the second half. Richie, your team is down by 12 points going into the second half. What are the key adjustments you have to make?
Basically, we have to move the ball on offense and then play the defense that's called and not something that they drummed up in their mind.
Your punting game let you down there in the first half, and that's very unusual.
Terrible. Especially into the wind, it was terrible. So we just have to try to make corrections there, and we're trying to make some corrections on the defense, and we got to move the ball offensively.
Thanks, Dave. Good luck. Okay.
And we wonder if that win more of a factor than we may have given credit to, because all but 3 points scored with the wind at the back of the offense. And just for the record, no windows here. We're open for this Western semifinal.
The only way to work a football game is actually be in the elements, just like the players.
Go, boys, 30 minutes.
A 12-point Saskatchewan lead. As McCallum boots it away, and Reggie Jones has it. That is 20, 35, and hit hard at the 36 by Reggie Hunt. As we check the stats from the opening 30 minutes.
Well, I think of the stats, basically, you're not really going to tell you the whole story. The story is big plays. Dominguez touchdown, Kenton Keith touchdown, and as Coach Ritchie alluded to, the punting. First quarter into the win, Troy Westwood had an average of 26 yards. Just not going to cut it. You need to get some big punts. You know what? In the second quarter, he averaged 46 yards. So, Chris, maybe the win a bigger factor we think.
Kahari Jones goes to work, and Mike Sellers takes that outlet pass and crashes to a first down at the 48. And he really is the heartbeat, it would seem, of this team. As Sellers goes, so go the Bombers.
I think this drive for Winnipeg is very important. And the fact is, you come out here, you want to reestablish the fact that you're in this football game still. The fact that you're only down 28. Put some points on the board. And remember, Saskatchewan last year had a 12-point lead, ended up losing that game. Create some doubt on that other sideline again.
Play action, Jones on a roll, and we didn't expect this. But it's that kind of situation now. Desperation time. And on a gimpy left ankle, Kahari Jones with the bootleg for a first down.
Well, I mean, I like this situation. I mean, you think that all, things would point to the fact that Kahari Jones, once he gets out of containment, would throw the football. But as you say, with everything on the line, he's not going to force the situation. He sees he's got big Mike Sellers ahead of him to lead block, picks up first down running.
Roughriders were going to cheat a little bit and sometimes break contain with the thought Jones wouldn't try to get outside. Roberts, big hole, and then it closed down by Jackie Mitchell, and there is a flag in the Bomber backfield.
Holding, Winnipeg 62. Speed first down.
Well, Getvey is going to get the call. The left guard, number 62. Boy, I tell you, he's just going to pull a trap. That's a trap, man, and he is just going to keep blocking. And because the hand comes outside, this is a late penalty. I really don't like this penalty. He's not really holding him. He's kind of got the defender between his arms.
So it's 1st and 20. Back at the Winnipeg 51. Milt Stiegel not in the offensive set, but Charles Roberts is. And he gets outside. Mitchell tracks him down. Roberts dropping the ball as he left the field. Jeff Drover has taken Milt Stiegel's place, and apparently the hamstring has sidelined Stiegel.
Well, late in the first half, Milt Stiegel tried to run a little flat pattern, pulled up with a hamstring, and he pulled himself out of the game. And his replacement was just in your screen right there, number 80, Jeff Drover, with a good block, allowing Charles Roberts to get to the outside.
11 for Roberts, 2nd and 9. Onto the Saskatchewan side of half, and a lot of steamboats for Kahari Jones, and a catch to Drover. The St. John's Newfoundland native has another Winnipeg first down.
The players love this kid, Chris. This is a guy who doesn't get a whole lot of opportunities to play football aside from special teams, but he works hard in practice, and he says, if I ever get an opportunity, I'm going to make the most of it. That's a nice job of the offensive line to allow Kahari Jones to sit back there and find Drover over the middle.
Only 10 catches during the regular season for the University of Calgary product. A walk-on with the Dinosaurs. Roberts up the middle, and Terrence Melton and company will toss him back. But the Bombers seem to be invigorated, coming back after halftime.
Well, you got to remember, Kahari Jones has got a wonky ankle. He's lost Stiegel now, who had no catches in the game. He's got one catch deep, and that's Stoddard's touchdown right there. Again, relying a lot on the underneath stuff to Charles Roberts and Mike Sellers, and letting them do stuff after they catch the football.
2nd and 5. Over the middle, and a completion. And Marcus Howell should have the first down.
And if Saskatchewan wants to come after Kahari Jones to try and break his rhythm, the middle of the football field will be open. And I like that Marcus Howell recognizes this and cuts into the open spot. And Kahari Jones equally puts it right where it has to be. And Howell holds on to the football.
Bombers started on their own 36. This the 6th play of the drive. And Sellers, big collision. And Mike Sellers down to the 16. And the Wallaby-sized fullback has 6.
But again, the offensive line, Matt Sheridan does what I call a chip block. That means he's going to hit the end and then chip off to the middle linebacker, Milton. He does it, and that allows Mike Sellers to get outside and pick up 6 yards.
260, a conservative estimate.
That's like me being conservatively 300.
2nd and 4. Roberts shakes one. Outside, first down, and out at the 8. Roberts and Sellers, that firm back in business.
You talk about how your offensive line can make your running back look good. Well, I tell you what, when you got a guy like Charles Roberts who just makes people miss, he makes everybody look better. He is dead to rights. Darnell Edwards is coming up. Shante Peoples is there. He just shakes and bakes, takes it outside, and again picks up a first down. And right now, the deepest we've been in Saskatchewan territory for the offense.
First time in the red zone, and it's 1st and goal from the 7. Sellers trying to get outside, and he could lose yards. It does. Back at the 9, strung out by Bobby Perry and company.
Great job of the Saskatchewan defense to string out Mike Sellers. He's trying to go the opposite way that Charles Roberts just ran, goes backside, good penetration. Peoples, Bobby Berry, number 14, doesn't allow Mike Sellers to turn his shoulders to go upfield and allows the rest of his teammates to take him down for a loss.
Loss of a couple, 2nd and goal. Goes, hooks in the end zone, open man, touchdown! Flag down, but it looks like J.B. Stoddard has his 2nd of the game.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Saskatchewan 29. Penalties declined. Touchdown.
And he made us called, and Stoddard has drawn the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right back into it.
And I tell you what, if you want to quiet the Roughrider fans that came to Winnipeg and put some life, some juice back into the Bomber fans, that's how you do it. Jamie Stoddard, as you say, with his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon, beating contact by Eddie Davis, and still coming up with a big catch at the back of the end zone.
Only one all year. Stoddard with 2 tonight. So the game is on in this Western semi. Corey Grant. And Grant nailed at the 30-yard line. They're fired up in Winnipeg, and we're headed to the sidelines to join Steve Armitage.
Thank you, Chris. I'm with CFL Commissioner Tom Wright. Tom, just a few moments ago, Brian Williams confirmed that the new owners of the Toronto Argonauts would be the Howard Kowalski Group. Can you confirm or deny that?
Steve, I've heard many names over the last while. My objective right from the beginning is always to put the right ownership in place in Toronto. And you asked me to confirm or deny. If I did that, I'd have to kill you. And the last thing I want to do is put a damper on the rest of your telecast here today.
When will you make the announcement?
My goal has always been from the outset before the Grey Cup, and I'm still working towards that goal.
How close are you?
Grey Cup's only, let me guess, 2 weeks away, so that's pretty close.
So we're looking at Grey Cup week as a possible date?
We're looking at making an announcement hopefully before Grey Cup, but that could be next week, could be the week after.
Looks like we've got a good game going here, and we're going to get an Eastern team in the Grey Cup.
It's going to be exciting. The game here with that last touchdown, it's only 2015. It's going to be a great second half.
Tom, thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Canada Stadium's in an uproar. Keith gets back across the 30, the original line of scrimmage. As Saskatchewan works against the wind in the 3rd quarter, they'll have it at their backs in the 4th.
Well, again, you take a look, 3 of 10, 75 yards. Unbelievable statistics. Obviously the big one up here, the 55-yarder to a wide open Matt Dominguez early in the first quarter. But after that, only 2 completions.
3 offensive plays essentially. Dominguez, the Keith run, and a run by Nealon Green. Here comes the safety blitz, but Green delivers and it's incomplete. Intended for Jason French.
And when you look at those stats, 3 of 10, and you look at the score, 20 points to 15, favoring Saskatchewan, and you see the tide. They always talk about momentum. And I thought that what Winnipeg did by coming out, taking that opening kickoff and moving the ball down and scoring was so paramount to their success to get back in this football game. I really was anxious to see what Saskatchewan was going to do to respond, and they looked really flat on that series.
Again, 2 Winnipeg touchdowns have been followed by 2 two-and-outs by Saskatchewan. Unable to answer. And now a poor McCallum punt. Rolling down to Roberts. And he'll step out at the Winnipeg 51. Back to work for the Bombers after a 27-yard punt. Charles Roberts trying to get outside. And Roberts close to 5 yards.
Just basically running the old glorified sweep play, get into the outside. Again, get Mike Sellers out in front of him. They're lining up in the eye and allowing Sellers to get outside, and he tries to block to the outside, but good flow by the interior of the Saskatchewan defense forces Roberts to still stay to the outside, but still manages to pick up 4 yards.
6 100-yard games this year, 6 Winnipeg wins. He's 28 away from a century in this postseason game. And he has a catch. Jackie Mitchell with the tackle as that matchup continues.
And let's one up on that stat, Chris. You talked about this year's 6 games of 100 yards, 6 victories in his career. Charles Roberts, 13 games of 100 yards or more, 13 victories.
14 unanswered Winnipeg points, and Charles Roberts backed up, cuts back, and picks up a couple when it looked like he'd lose a few.
You can't buy this talent. You really can't. I tell you what, I'd love to be Charles Roberts' agent at the end of the season, because he just makes so many things happen when it looks like he's not going to get anything at all. He's strung out. Peoples has got his jersey. He cuts back, fights, picks up 4 yards when he should have been stopped for a 4-yard loss.
Well, he didn't look quite right as he made his way to the sidelines, and Wade Miller checks in. 2nd down, 7. Jones downfield, and another catch for Jamie Stoddard.
No catches, Reggie Jones. How about Stoddard being in the zone? I'm telling you right now, he reaches back and grabs this off his hip. This is a wonderful job of Jamie Stoddard going down. He really believes, you know what, I can do it now. He just got the confidence. He's had balls thrown at him. Kahari's made him his favorite target, and he's responding.
His 3rd catch, the first one that wasn't in the blue paint of the end zone. And a 1st down, Roberts back in, so he's okay. Down to the 23.
Roberts might have had to leave the play earlier just to catch his wind. As we see Eric Wilson, who has pulled duty on both sides of the football field, on offensive line and the defensive line, going down a little winded, but there's a tough guy. He's not going to be out of this game.
Why wouldn't he be? Takes every snap on offense and more than half on defense. An old throwback, and the Bombers are trending again, but it's 2nd and 7. Harry Jones looking deep, Grover, and he missed him over the wrong shoulder. And Jones would love to have that back.
You can feel it swinging. I'm telling you right now, Saskatchewan is playing on their heels right now. They are not playing like a team with the lead right there. Grover wide open. McCalla nowhere to be seen in the picture. Kahari Jones can't believe it, just overthrows him.
So the Bombers trying to fly with the Canadian Air Force. Marcus Howell, Jamie Stoddard, Jeff Grover, and now Westwood attempting a 30-yard field goal. And Westwood is good. And it's a 2-point game. It was 19, but the Bombers have 17 straight points. Look at the time of possession. Elon Green takes the shovel and takes off. And he may have to do that to get that defense back on his heels.
If you're Winnipeg, this is the guy you got to watch right here. Elon Green will take it upon himself to do whatever he has to do to get a victory for his teammates. He is such an incredible athlete that he will not force the situation, thus the low interception totals, and he will run with the football.
Offensive coordinator Marcel Belfay and Elon Green trying to kickstart this offense. First down, and the hitch out to Jason French. And now Saskatchewan will go to their Canadian receiver to get things going and near midfield.
It's exactly what you have to do. If you're Saskatchewan, you have to take a page out of Winnipeg's playbook. You've got to start spreading the ball around. Get it to your receivers on the outside. One-on-one situations. Let your receiver do something after they make the catch. Hopefully break a tackle and make a big play.
French has 8, and it's 2nd and 2. Corey Holmes, a little extra second effort, and he'll be close to the first down. Looked like he'd be stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Get out of here.
That is great second effort by Kenton Keith or Corey Holmes because of the fact that he is stopped. David Benefield is slicing down. Brian Clark is right there meeting him, and he just keeps going. But it'll be depending where they mark him, because if you see where his knee hit, and that's where they're marking. They're marking from the initial contact of the knee on the ground, not where he scrambled to.
And now the coach has to make a decision. Now 3rd and a yard. Second surge, he may have got it, but initial contact was right at the line of scrimmage. Just by that much. And Coach Barrett breathes a sigh of relief.
Just see him come off the line of scrimmage. Very, very fortunate because they're not going double tight. They're allowing Benefield to come off the corner, and he almost makes the play.
Osterhaus with the first contact in there. He plucked it up, but not quite enough. This time they fake to Zarka, and Green runs into the traffic right at the line, and Osterhaus is pumped up as he makes another defensive play.
Osterhaus, who only had 5 tackles coming into this game, spot duty, but doesn't get fooled by the play-action quarterback draw. All it's going to be is play action. It's a predetermined play. You see Zarka, 33, goes to the right side, and he's going to be a blocking back. But good penetration by Osterhaus to limit the gain to 1 yard.
Native of Fergus, Ontario, he goes to the sidelines. Time winds down here in the 3rd quarter. 6-receiver package on 2nd and 9, and time for Green. Downtown, and a big fight there in Travis Moore. We have a flag down. It was hooked up with Tim Carter. Incomplete. 2 flags on the carpet.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Winnipeg number 20. Penalties decline.
Ricky Bell.
Pass interference. Winnipeg number 23. First down.
Tim Carter. So Saskatchewan has the ball down at the Winnipeg 26.
Well, I'll tell you what, they got one on this side here with Corey Oakes knocking the receiver over. That's to the other side of the field, and that's Tim Carter. But Corey Oakes to the short side did not allow the receiver to run his route.
Should be the last play of the 3rd quarter, and it's a completion to Corey Grant. And close to another first down. Well, we're headed into the 4th quarter. Hope you're enjoying our primetime coverage of this Western semifinal, and we're going to go down to the wire, it would appear. Let's check the numbers through 45 minutes.
Well, you take a look at the time of possession. This is unbelievable. Again, a 10-minute advantage for Winnipeg. And you know what? But right now, if you want to take a look, with Saskatchewan still having the lead by 2 points, and their best drive of the afternoon right now, Chris, marching the ball all the way down to the 17 or 16-yard line of the Bombers right now, and 163 yards passing. I mean, this is a game that has everything right now, and I tell you, the guy that is doing it all for Saskatchewan is that man, number 15, Nealon Green.
Well, this drive started with a first down carry by Green, and now into the 8th play of the drive, and here in the 4th quarter, Saskatchewan with the wind at their backs. A first down at the Bombers 16, and there was movement by the left guard, Donald Heaven.
Saskatchewan, number 68.
Sorry, it was the other guard, Andrew Green, who flips to the strong side, and wanted to talk about that Green and Makowski always go strong side, and they're really the only team that does that.
You see him, he just jumps up a little bit. Nice pass hit. You got to give kudos for that. We'll give him props for a nice pass hit.
Well, he is the top offensive lineman of the West, but he's forced his team into a 1st and 15. Hitting Keith on the delay, wide open, express lane, touchdown. And Keith has a pair of major scores.
You cannot run this defense. It's exactly what they did the play previous when Kent Keith broke it to almost identical spot and got a touchdown. Your linebackers are too tight to the line of scrimmage. They get caught in a wash. They can't come over. He breaks it to the outside, and it's a touchdown. You've got no run support when you're that tight inside the box.
Danny Barrett's X factor, Kenton Keith with his 2nd long run for a touchdown.
Look how wide open he is. It's not until he's in the end zone that you see a linebacker, McGriggs, enter your picture.
McCallum, the extra point. And it is a 9-point Saskatchewan advantage as the Riders finally answer that string of Bomber points.
Well, not only that, but it's the fact that you got a 9-play drive. It culminates in a touchdown. Andrew Green, nice kick-out block, allows Ken Keith to cut it back inside. But again, the linebackers of the Bombers are way too tight to the line of scrimmage. That restricts their flow to the football. They get caught up in the wash. And once Keith breaks that line of scrimmage, it's just a little romp to the end zone.
A player who has been compared both to Charles Roberts and to John Avery, who started with the Eskimos last year, and Nealon Green, who had that offense sputtering for a long period of time.
What's up, DT? What's up?
Kicked it back into gear.
That's an example of having the right play called at the right time against the wrong defense. That's all that is right there. Winnipeg too tight, taking a gamble on it, trying to bring the pressure, thinking it's going to be a pass. Getting Keith with almost an identical run to his earlier touchdown. And once again, another big lead by Saskatchewan.
Marcus Howell down at the 37. An 8 plays, 75-yard drive, 3:53 elapsed, and it started with this pass to Jason French. 3rd down gamble. Just got it. And then hit Keith, rumbling 21 yards.
We'll take a look at that later. I'll tell you what, if you see everybody inside that tackle box, does not allow them to come over and put the stop on Kenton Keith.
And that will strengthen the conviction on the Saskatchewan side. What will it do to the Bombers' medal? Sellers lost the ball as Jackie Mitchell made contact as the ball arrived.
Well, you've seen it time and time again. It doesn't matter what football game you're covering or watching on the television. As soon as your offense scores, it's almost like they put fresh life in your defense, and they usually come out and they make big plays. And right there, that's a great stick on Mike Sellers, not allowing him to come up with the catch.
We've had 2 plays, one either side, that were very close to a catch and a fumble. But it is an incompletion. And it's 2nd and 10. Looks like Saskatchewan jumped, and they'll whistle play down before Jackie Mitchell lowered the boom on Kahari Jones, who signals to Mitchell.
Offside, Saskatchewan, number 9. Repeat 2nd down.
Well, they got Reggie Hunt for the call. I tell you what, that is a smart play, though, by Mitchell, not hitting the quarterback. A lot of times you see him coming, they know they're offside, and it's Hunt who jumps offside on the top, but Reggie Hunt comes free on the bottom, and he decides to not hit the quarterback. He listens to the whistle, doesn't cost his team a penalty.
So they were bringing everybody, apparently, both Mitchell and Hunt off the edge. Now it's 2nd and 5. Jones nearly picked off. Eddie Davis, the veteran, the leader of that secondary, thought he had one, but instead it's 3rd down.
Eddie Davis recognized that Jamie Stoddard likes to curl back in about 10, 15 yards down the football field, and he sees it, and he makes the break on the football. Stoddard sits back in, he curls a little bit, but Eddie Davis, the veteran, curls in front of him and almost, and should have had that interception.
You got it.
But now Westwood, for the first time since the first quarter, hunting against the wind. Not deep, but it does bounce. Picked up by Holmes. And he gets to the 50, a flag down on the no yards. And they'll scrum there. 30-yard punt by Westwood. He continues to struggle against the wind. 9 points, Saskatchewan lead. Kenton Keith with a pair of touchdowns for Saskatchewan. Well, Charles Roberts been a key man for the Blue Bombers, but you made the point, that might be the first drive we've seen all night where the Bombers didn't go to number 1.
But you take a look, he got 8 for 73 and 2 touchdowns, 2 big runs. Those are the big breakers right there. Almost identical plays, and he's caught the Bomber defense twice and broken for touchdowns.
And Milt Stiegel has been a spectator since late in the first half. Play action, Green. Oh, almost picked. Milo Lewis got his hands on it. A dangerous pass in the flat, incomplete.
But I tell you what, one of the things you gotta like what Milo Lewis did. How many times have you seen the defender, in this instance Milo Lewis, try to go for the interception rather than just making sure the ball is knocked down, miss it, and allow the receiver to come up with a big catch? I like the fact that he's concerned with one, knocking the ball down, that's his first priority.
2nd and 10, Saskatchewan has been able to get Travis Moore into this game. So far, they flare it out, and Keith with the catch, but caught behind the line of scrimmage. Now they're saying incomplete, and it'll be 3rd down. Mo Kelly was in the neighborhood, and Winnipeg gets a key defensive stand.
Well, Mo Kelly almost baited Nealon Green to throw this in the flat. He played off it. You see him coming late to the play. Before Mo Kelly started toward Kenton Keith, Kenton Keith looked wide open in the flat. Nealon Green saw that, licked his chops, got in the ball. But Mo Kelly made a great play of limiting the gain to 1 yard, forcing the punting situation.
Bombers have not had a punt return for a touchdown all year. In fact, their best return 35 yards as Roberts awaits the McCallum kick. It's a beauty, driving him inside his 10, where Roberts tries to wind up, and he's nailed inside the 5. Great coverage downfield. Play by Kennedy Nikiasen. Great punt coverage after the 51-yard boot by McCallum. A loss of 5 on the return, so the Bombers backed up and in a 9-point hole. There's Charles Roberts, and he's down inside the 1 by his shadow tonight, Jackie Mitchell.
You have got to block the backside. You're going to pull Sellers around to be the lead block, but if you do not secure backside, Jackie Mitchell is in Charles Roberts' back pocket, and very fortunate that this is not a safety, because by the time number 1 gets it, he doesn't see him. Look at this. He is tackled on the goal line, gets to the 1.
are getting into critical play calling for the Bombers at their 1.
And it's tough because you still got to be aggressive.
2nd and 14. Jones down the sideline, picked off. Bobby Perry has the ball at the 30-yard line. Kahari Jones picked off, and Saskatchewan now holds the hammer.
But watch this play as we're running it now. Now freeze it right here for a second. Look at this. You don't see one receiver in here. There's nobody running crossing routes. I don't understand the play. You only need 10 yards. Now they're forcing him to go to the outside. Now watch what happens when he throws it to the outside. Freeze it there. You got double coverage. And Bobby Perry comes up with his first interception.
And now these young Roughriders will find out about their killer instinct. Kenton Keith breaks through again. Look at that cutback. Again. What a run. Touchdown. Kenton Keith. That a thing of beauty. And the Roughriders show the killer instinct in a hurry.
Boy, there's nothing like making a team pay after they turn the football over. Now, you got to remember, we've been pumping Winnipeg's defense. This is a team that only gives up 70 yards, but I tell you what, Kenton Keith with his 3rd touchdown. You know, the last 2 he broke open right into the middle of the field. But this one, as you say, I want to use your quote, a thing of beauty, making tacklers miss in the open field, and then turning on the afterburn, and you see right there, Coach Rick says, you got to tackle.
Extra point is good. It's the first time in 23 games that a player has rushed for over 100 yards against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Boy, he starts, he breaks through the initial tackle of Osterhaus, then he gets through another tackle, he freezes Milo Lewis, and beats all the defenders in the secondary into the end zone. Nice job at the point of attack. Andrew Green giving him a little opening, and then Kenton Keith, I tell you what, he does the rest on his own. He makes 3 defenders miss and outruns the rest of the defense.
Danny Barrett told us earlier this year, Kenton Keith was 1 day away from being sent home.
Well, remember,
he didn't look good in training camp.
Here's a guy that sat on the practice roster all last year. Boy, I tell you what, you'll hear the old adage, boy, when opportunity knocks, make the most of it. Well, here's a kid that really has done that. They make, as you say, comparisons of talent to guys like Charles Rogers.
5-3-2-8. That should be one number. That's because we killing them together. That's touchdown after touchdown. Did you watch this? It's a home game. Is this on TV? I love this weather.
And that touchdown's on the highlight reel, Mr. Keith. Marcus Howell across the 45. 9.5 minutes remaining.
This is a home game. Regina.
And when the Riders rush successfully, they win.
Well, take a look at those numbers. 200 right here, another 260 right there. The biggest one that surprises a lot of people as we coming into this game, Chris, is week 1 in that 29-27 win by Winnipeg. They held Saskatchewan's ground game to 45 yards. But I got to tell you, Kenton Keith wasn't playing that game.
158 yards tonight on the ground for Saskatchewan. Not done, though. It's a 16-point lead. Kahari Jones has a completion. Reggie Jones near a first down at midfield. And now the offensive brain trust of the Bombers have to come up with some big plays, and that's Paul LaPolice along with Urban Bowman in the spotter's booth. Delivering, and the ball knocked down by Omar Morgan, intended for Jeff Drover.
Well, I tell you, all the momentum and excitement that Winnipeg was building up when we were marching the football was totally taken away by that 8-play drive by Saskatchewan, and then, of course, the interception, Bobby Perry, and the very next play, Kenton Keith again with another touchdown. And right now, it looks like Winnipeg's really trying to find themselves again. Kahari Jones just tries to throw this football away even before he's getting hit.
Just to clarify, after the first down, there was a dead ball foul. The ball was spotted back at the 46 of Winnipeg, and it's 2nd and 10. And Jones loads it up, looks deep for Stoddard, incomplete. And step for step with Stoddard was the safety, Darnell Edwards.
Well, Darnell Edwards was there, and I'll tell you one of the things. Now, hey, Jamie Stoddard, you've had a heck of a football game tonight. You made some catches, but I tell you what, I like my odds if I'm going to go deep with a guy like a Milt Stegall. Why? Because when the ball is in the air, a guy like that knows how to play and get away from the coverage and find his way back to the football.
But we have not seen Stegall since late in the first half, and now it's 3rd down. Reggie Jones, a tender hamstring, and we haven't seen him leg one out. We've got 2 Bombers behind punter Troy Westwood to be onside. Westwood puts it up in the air, and Saskatchewan's got it. McCallum let it bounce and then drags the Bomber deeper into Winnipeg territory. We have 2 flags on the play.
I think it was somebody else.
Winnipeg, number 40, first down.
That's Jason Congdon who's going to get the penalty. So a trick play tried by the Bombers.
And it backfires. And the ball back at the 44. Westwood's just trying to hang this up in the wind so that those 2 onside Bombers can run onto it.
But Saskatchewan does a nice job of blocking. They recognize it and they block Nash and Morgan, not allowing him to get to the football.
So a 16-point lead, the ball on the carpet. Saskatchewan back on it.
Nealon Green just mishandles the snap and dives back on it, secures the football, and they'll re-huddle and go at it in 2nd down.
Mentioned 158 yards rushing for Saskatchewan. Ottawa ran for 164 against Winnipeg. And that's really the only team that had any ground success against the Bombers during the regular season. But Kenton Keith has had plenty tonight. A hat trick of touchdown runs. And here's Keith again, kicking it outside. Can he break another tackle? No, down at the 42. Even that was an adventure.
Well, I gotta tell you what, Winnipeg's lucky they got 12 guys on defense because he made the first 6 miss. He has got incredible lateral moves. I mean, he moves as fast sideways as most people do going front. Watch this side move right here. Just breaks a tackle. Now watch the shift again. Right out of the tackle of Milo Lewis. Finally dragged down. Wow, what an afternoon.
3rd down, and McCallum comes in. Going to attempt a 49-yarder. This might be considered a gamble, but the wind is at his back. And he will miss it, and that will give Charles Roberts a chance to run it out. Flag is down, and good coverage downfield. It's not a gamble when you cover kicks like that. Offside was the call against Winnipeg, and so McCallum will get a shot at it again. This time from 45 yards out with Glenn holding. And this time, no mistake by Paul McCallum. And so it's a 19-point lead. The Bombers need 3 scores. Although I don't know if you consider a fleet running scat back like Kenton Keith, the Warrior, but he's a highlight reel.
Oh, he's definitely a Warrior. He's worked well, and he gave credit to the O-line, and I like that.
There's Jones downfield, and well, the only guy that appears to be a threat is Jamie Stoddard for Winnipeg right now.
Yeah, you'd almost have to think that Jamie Stoddard is the guy that keeps coming up with the big clutch catches right now. Jones only 1 catch. Haven't seen much of Marcus Howell all afternoon. Drover made a couple big catches, so really it seems to be one-dimensional.
Now looking deep down that sideline, and he does have Marcus Howell inside the 20. As Howell beats is McCallum.
Well, Marcus just simply does a fly route, just straight down the football field. A little bit of a push off, but a nice job of seeing where he is on the field and coming up with a big catch. Pretty good coverage on a play by Adolphus McCallum.
37 yards, the length of the Kahari Jones to Marcus Howell completion. 1st and 10 in the red zone. Roberts, some room, and Roberts, another first down inside the 10. Dragged down by Jackie Mitchell. Roberts got a block from Jeff Drover.
Well, Jeff Drover a couple times tonight from the outside of the wide receiver spot has done an excellent job of blocking to allows the speedster Charles Roberts to turn on the jets and get to the outside. You can see him blocking him out to the sideline. Roberts cuts inside and picks up a big first down.
1st and goal from the 7. Jones, end zone toss, and knocked away from Stoddard by Davin Bush.
Boy, Davin Bush played this just about as well as you can play this. He goes up, they're both playing the football. Davin Bush sees it coming all the way and gets his hands on it and does not allow the receiver to even have an attempt to come up with this catch. That's just a nice job of playing the football, getting that right hand right in there.
Stoddard looking for his 3rd touchdown of this Western semi. 2nd and goal. Jones, incomplete, looking for Howell at the goal line, and they got to go for it. And, you know, we noticed Kahari Jones wincing. They're not going to go for it.
Well, fans are not happy with this choice of Troy Westwood to come out and try a field goal.
Chris, I think Kahari Jones hurt his thumb on the interception on that throw from his end zone on the last possession.
Well, you can see as he went off the field, he was actually bending it back, trying to give the coaching staff an indication that his hand is not all that right now, his throwing hand.
Well, this to get within 16, they'd still need 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point converts. And the fans don't agree with the decision.
Well, I really don't either. I think when you're down in the red zone right now, you have to get something positive to have for your offense. Yeah, it's 3 points, but as you say, they still need a number of scores to get back in this football game. Take a look at the last play again as Kahari throws it, and then he grabs his hand. You can see him right now. He's just grabbing. He's got his fingers, and I agree with you, Chris. I think he hit him on a helmet earlier, a few series ago. And they're working on the hand right there, trying to keep it warm.
And the forearm. They fake to Keith, and Nealon Green gets outside. Denny Courtney, and then slides out of bounds as we update our Canadian Tire game notes.
Well, we talked about control of the ball, controlling the game. You know what? They've only had the ball 4.34 seconds. In the 3rd quarter, this has really not been a good key for me because I tell you what, the offense has just made big plays. So I'm going to have to take a minus on that one. Calm the storm, Stiegel, no catches. Well, they shut Stiegel, but he left the game. So, hey, listen, you know what? I can't take credit for that one either.
Well, you kind of gave us the time and metrics, so maybe that's why they haven't been able to hold on to it as long. It's been a quick strike offense for Saskatchewan, and Kenton Keith has a key first down to keep Saskatchewan's drive alive and run up more of the clock as we check the bomber.
Well, we talked about the fact that Kingsville lead them. That's Kahari's name, and they trailed 17-1. They came back. Hey, it was 20-18. They were working it, but again, a big interception by Bobby Perry, and that allowed them to get back in. And if you want the silver, stop the green. The silver is the Grey Cup, but 55-yard touchdown pass to Dominguez. Green has done all the little things right to give his team a great chance to go to Edmonton.
A fresh set of downs to this young Roughrider team, as I mentioned off the top, maybe today coming of age.
Well, you got to take a look at something. Last year, this is a team that was 1-8 on the road. This year, this will be their third road game victory in a row. This one, albeit in the playoffs, they're getting the job done at the best time. And you know what? I love what he said. He said, you know what? We're not a cocky bunch of players. We're very confident. And the key to us this year, we've stayed healthy. We are healthy at the right time right now.
Very business-like yesterday. A quiet confidence was pretty clear when they arrived at Canada Stadium. Keith, another run down to the 45 of Winnipeg. And the clock will start running again. Bobby Murray hasn't let go of that football since his big interception.
This team knew that it was going to, if it won or if it lost, there was going to be a lot of changes made. They got a lot of players over 30 years old. They're kind of kept together with the goal of going to the Cup. And as you say, once again, they're going to fall short. But
there's Tom Higgins and Danny Machocha getting a bird's eye view of their next opponent. Angling that ball out inside the 10, textbook stuff, and a flag flies downfield as a cheap shot was taken, and the tempers start to boil over, and that will only back the Bombers up further.
Frustration coming through, and you can see, look at that warrior. Nose cut, that's big Doug Brown battling in there. Doesn't get a lot of stats.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Winnipeg number 89, first down.
Dave Ritchie, 50 wins in 5 years. More wins in the last 3 seasons than any other team in the Canadian Football League. But another year without their hands on the cup.
And unfortunately, sometimes you're judged not on your record, but on how many championships you can win. And it hasn't come forth for him. He thought that a couple years ago it was going to be the year when they lost to Calgary in the Grey Cup. Last year, they had a couple key injuries. This year again, Stiegel being out since the first half, that definitely hurts him. Robert Gordon, the other slot back who was a big factor in their offense, he's been out. Kahari Jones being hurt. You can see once again the throwing hand giving him some concern.
Pat Barnes, the backup, hurt last week on the first toss of the game. Stanley Jackson brought in here on Wednesday, and for all intents and purposes, he's the backup. Ryan Stallworth really not taking any snaps this year. And so Jones laboring down the stretch here with less than 2 minutes to go, 2nd and 10. And here come the Riders rush. Reggie Jones comes back to the ball for the catch. And let's see where they mark this. It will be close to a first down.
Well, they're going to give him the first down on this play.
But without Stiegel and Jones really going half speed, replacing the injured Robert Gordon.
And I think another thing, you got to give Saskatchewan credit. One thing that wasn't really talked about was they had a bit of a flu bug run through the team, and you know, guys like Omar Morgan, Travis Moore really didn't practice the whole week because they were sick, and Danny Barrett sent them home because he didn't want them affecting the rest of the team. So, you know, this is a team that hasn't had its entire unit practicing all week because of that. Well, they've sure shown up tonight.
So we're down to 3rd. 2nd down. Kahari Jones is still working that handover, and it's obvious that he's not getting the ball where he wants to get it.
Oh, he's got no authority right now the way he's throwing the football. It's sliding out of his hand. He's just going through. He's just going to finish off the last minute 39.
2nd and 10. Stands in, and Marcus Howell nailed by Eddie Davis.
Well, if you're a Saskatchewan player right now, this is where you're having fun on the field because you're just sitting back right now. You're not going to give him the deep ball. You're going to play into Kahari. You know he's not going to throw the ball deep on you right now. He's just going to try and take the 10, 15 yarders. They're sitting back, and they're punishing the receivers.
Well, the defense dug in, and then Kenton Keith did the rest.
Baby, let's go. 2nd round.
And now Troy Westwood the punt with a couple of onside men again. One of his best of the game. Over the head of Corey Holmes. And now Holmes picks it up and runs out at the 52. A minute 24 between Saskatchewan and Edmonton.
Please believe it.
Come on, baby.
Kevin Glenn's in and Chris Sarka goes for a run back into Winnipeg territory. So Nealon Green done for the day, and he has his first postseason victory and his first playoff memories.
Double E, we come.
Well, he had a career year too. I mean, highest number of passing yards. He really felt good, and of course, the biggest thing, he's always been kind of hampered by injuries. And this is the first time. I mean, the numbers are not good. 5 of 15, but he does what he has to do to get this team going. We see him take off with the ball, a little bit of quarterback sneaks. He gets around the corner and throws on the run. He's agile, he's athletic.
Danny Barrett can't contain the smile on the sidelines. I'll give Kevin Glenn credit. He came in last week. Green left the game with a bruised sternum, and Kevin Glenn produced the field goal drive in the final minute that ensured they'd be here and not going east.
And I told you earlier, just before we did the broadcast, that I had run into Shante Peoples outside. He just came off the taxi cab, and he had bottles of bubbly to celebrate. He says, you may not believe it, but we're going back.
We come home, Regina.
And that's what he was saying. He said, we're winning tonight. I don't care what you said. I'm buying this celebration champagne for my boys. We're going to drink it on the way home, a celebration.
Second down over, Zarka. And this time, nothing doing. But we're in the final minute. And we can now look ahead to next weekend. For the numbers, an 18-point win at Taylor Field, an 18-point win at Commonwealth Stadium in a game we did and thought that might be a key tiebreaker. As it turned out, the Eskimos won the West outright. And now Saskatchewan will go there as they did in 97 and 89, hoping that history will repeat itself again. When they upset the Eskimos, went on to win the Grey Cup in 89 and upset the Eskimos to play in the Grey Cup in Edmonton in 97, eventually losing to the Argonauts. McCallum kicking it out of bounds, no return, and 24 seconds remaining in the Blue Bombers season. And just about all that's left in Canada Stadium are fans wearing green.
Well, definitely this will be one of the first times you'll see, and there are security. They'd love to run on the field and congratulate their players. The Bomber fans are just running to their cars to try and beat the traffic home.
Well, they were outnumbered, but these Saskatchewan fans certainly enhanced the playoff atmosphere of two bitter rivals. And they are savoring this win on enemy turf. Mike Sellers, a warrior to the end. Nate Davis is sitting out this last defensive series, and why not? He'll save it for the Eskimos. And we're seeing perhaps the end of a bit of a short-term era in Winnipeg. There's going to be some rebuilding done here.
Oh, definitely. And this is the thing. I mean, they'll sit down, they'll come in tomorrow, they'll go to meetings, they'll have a wind-up dinner tomorrow night because it never takes more than a day. And by Tuesday, you'll see a lot of these players saying their goodbyes for the last time because this team really won't be the same next year. And you almost wonder, and you hate to bring it up, but they have talked about that maybe even the head man's job is in jeopardy, and you wonder about that as well.
16 players over 30 years of age. Milt Stegall was candid yesterday saying, win or lose, we know this group won't stay together next year. This is the final play. Many of the riders shaking hands as the final play from scrimmage is handled by Mike Sellers, who talked during the week with the riders, making the statement here this evening in Winnipeg. They're headed for Edmonton, winning this Western semifinal on the running of Kenton Keith. Has his first playoff win as a head coach as we join Steve Armitage.
Thank you very much, Chris. Last year, Kenton Keith, you were on the practice roster. Tonight, 3 touchdowns. In your wildest dreams, did you ever see yourself starring in the semifinal?
No, but I had a dream that we was going to come out here and score a lot of points. And I haven't had a game like this in a couple of games. And I knew I was bound for one. They never seen me play before. And the field is lovely, man. I love playing this type of weather. I kind of figured something good was going to happen for me pretty soon.
You knew you were going to get a lot of action tonight, but you didn't think get this many carries.
No, I didn't think I was going to get this many carries, but the reason I got a lot of carries is because we was up. We needed to waste a lot of time. So usually we've been in them situations we passed a lot because we didn't have that many points. Today we need to waste some time and get some yards, so they counted on me.
Some thoughts on playing the Eskimos?
We own.
Okay, Kenton Keith, 3 touchdowns in the big win over the Bombers here in Winnipeg. The Riders win it 37-21.